Welcome into episode 109 of JD's Empire Sports Talk. I'm JD, of course, and I'm joined by, once again, Jake Biggie Mills. A lot has went wrong, I should say, before the show started, but we're still here. Let's put it that way. Microphone broke, not feeling the best. A lot has gone wrong, but we are here. We're going to do a show for you guys because, when we commit to something, we do it.
Exactly. I told you, it's the nature of this business. Something's always breaking. Something technical is always wrong.
Yeah, and I knew yesterday I was doing episode 108, so if you guys missed that, I did like the predictions for the standings and all that stuff, which also went out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, or whatever today. And I felt that the microphone was slowly not working right. I'm like, okay, I think it's time. And then boom, today I tried to use it, and the Bluetooth's not working. So unfortunately, even if I put it there, it still wouldn't work. So that's why I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna scrap it if I don't sound the best. So we'll work through it. We'll figure it out, and next show will be better. But we'll get through this one and we'll move on. But for tonight, we got the NBA, NFL, of course, because not as much news as we usually have for the NFL, but we do have news. NHL, MLB starting tomorrow, so we're going to talk about that, of course. Yes. Biggie, your boys are starting the season off. Let's see what they can do first.
Yeah,
it's going to be a good game. I'm not even a I'm not even a I'm not even a Yankees fan, and I'm like, okay, I want to watch some baseball. Let's go, let's watch it, and that's going to be really, really fun. And then, of course, March Madness starts up again on Thursday. Obviously, it's last weekend was really, really fun. I know people that aren't even big basketball fans that gave it a chance just because you're like, you know what, I'll watch something new, and they loved it. A few people I told them, like, I know you guys don't watch a lot of it. Give it a chance. See what you got. And it was great. I know my friends.
It's different when it's March Madness, dude. Like, I follow throughout the year. I follow Syracuse throughout the year, but I don't watch at all, really. And March Madness comes around, I'm locked.
It was fun, man. It was fun. It was like, I got so invested into it. I'm like rooting for teams that I thought I would never root for before. Some certain players. I'm like, I didn't even know what was it when High Point won that first round game. That guy that scored that game-winning layup didn't have a 2-point make the entire year, which is things like that happen, when you get to that point. First weekend is over, though, and now, obviously, Thursday starts the Sweet 16. So, these are the best of the best that are left. So you're going to get great competition, a few matchups or potential matchups along, at now or down the road that are going to be absolutely insane that we can predict and look at in a little bit. Then we'll do how you doing, which, of course, we kind of just say how you doing whenever. It kind of just floats around. We always do that. And then to pick them, we're going to pick the Tigers versus Padres. And we actually have a new little aspect of the show that we're going to unveil later. So tune in for that. Yeah, tune in for that as well. Padres versus Tigers will be a good game. I'm very excited just for the season. So I was like, you know what? We're going to do baseball because baseball is here.
I love it. Yes. That's no better time to do it.
Exactly. Opening day, or tomorrow's opening night, of course, and then Thursday is when it truly matters, when we got everyone playing from 1 o'clock to, I think, 10 o'clock, actually, or 8 o'clock, maybe, one of those. It's going all day. I know that. But let's start with the NBA, where we only got Biggie. I know it feels like we've been doing these standings updates for the last, 5 years of our life, but we don't have many more. We really don't have many more. There's only 10 games left for each team, give or take. But Oklahoma City gets Jalen Williams back from injury. So, Biggie, we've been talking about the Thunder for the last, 2 weeks, saying, they haven't played their greatest, but now all of a sudden they're turning it on when they know the postseason is coming. Yeah. And they haven't lost in about 2 weeks. And what do you know? They get their second best player back from injury. Like, they really need it, right?
Yeah, it's been all year, man. I've been saying it. They look better than they did last year. And for this to come at the time that it did, it's unfair. Like, come on. My
It is.
God.
It's like a shot in the arm that you don't need. They haven't lost
Yeah.
in the month of. They haven't lost in the month of March, mind you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now they're getting back their second best player,
I know. It's
Jalen Williams, who we
crazy.
saw how good Jalen Williams was last year. In the postseason, he was huge. Huge
Yeah.
for them. I want to count this up. We got at least a 10-game winning streak, but I think it's more actually. 2, 4, 6,
Probably is.
8, 10, 12-game winning streak for the Thunder. Yeah. And Jalen Williams coming back, and they're turning it on at the right time. And the best part is when we get to the standings, that team behind them, who's been behind them the entire year, is still not that far away. So, like, as good as the Thunder have been, the Spurs they're right there. A little bit of a slip up by the Thunder. I don't think it's going to happen, but a little bit of slip up from OKC, the Spurs can, go right up there.
Yeah, and that's another team that is hot right now too. Like
the Spurs, ridiculous. The Spurs are 9-1 in their last 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think their winning streak just got snapped. Oh no, they had a winning streak. It stopped, and then they started a new one. It's like what, 6 games about now.
Yeah.
That's great. We'll get to the standings in a second, but a team that is still hanging on and will make the play-in just because of the lack of competition after them. The Warriors lost another guy to a season-ending injury, pretty much. Moses Moody out for the rest of the year. Who was a guy they drafted? I don't know if you remember this. So, of course, they had those main championship teams. The last championship team they had, which wasn't really thought to be – no one really thought it was going to happen. They just won kind of out of nowhere type of thing. Moses Moody was in that middle of that rotation. He's slowly developed into a good player. He's out for the year. Warriors are 34 and 38, and they keep slipping down. They were – at one point, they were the 8th seed. Now they're the 10th seed. But they're still going to make it. But they're not going to win anything. But – at some point, good things do come to an end, right? The Warriors had a run that if a fan complains from Golden State, I don't want to hear it. Just like
watch it. Yeah, you had your time.
I mean, look at it. The way Golden State had the run they had, it was like, over 10 years at this point. It's never, it's never stopped until now. Right, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it for them. They were. I look at it. I know we've had this debate a few times on this show.
Yeah.
I've always said, like, there's always a ton of teams that go on like dynasty runs. We've seen it. They're probably the one that honestly that people don't hate. I really don't think so. I think out of the main dynasty runs, they're probably at the bottom of people that maybe when Kevin Durant went there and they instantly won, I can understand that.
Yeah,
but besides that,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just the Cavs fan in me, but I don't know.
Well, you had to go up against them, is what I'm saying. Yeah,
right. Yeah. But I also am thinking at the same time, like, what other one do people actually like? Everyone hates the Patriots.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Everyone hates the Chiefs. Everyone hates the Dodgers. Everyone, for the most part, hated the Pittsburgh Penguins when they were, back to back, and then obviously Tampa and Florida now as of recent. I'm just thinking all sports. I'd say they're probably the least hated. Maybe one of the hockey ones that I mentioned might be. But yeah, no, I can kind of see that.
Yeah, and not even because it's kind of by default, just because of who was involved with the other teams. Like Steph Curry, great player, and he's well liked. It's not like people don't like him. Like you see your fair share of people that didn't like Tom Brady. Your fair share of people that think Mahomes is a little, too much with the things that go on with him. There's other teams that we can look at who've had dynasties that we look at and we're like, yeah, there's certain people involved that we don't like, but in terms of the Warriors, I really don't know. Besides, like, you can take the Kevin Durant team.
Yeah, and Draymond a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it didn't matter if the Warriors won championships or not. I don't think many people are a fan of him anyway. And he's another guy. He's another guy that got hurt for this team this year, and he's out. So it's a lot that's gone wrong for them, in a short amount of time. But at some point it's going to happen, and they're still going to make the play-in. So you never know. Maybe they'll sneak into the playoffs. I doubt it. But that's going to lead us right into the standings update. 10 games left pretty much for every team. I'll start us off in the West, where we got the Thunder, like I just said about 5 minutes ago, still leading the way on a 12-game winning streak. They've been unstoppable this year. Probably will win 60-plus games because they got 57 wins at this point. I don't see them losing that many more. Spurs have 54 wins as well. They have 18 losses. So both of those teams, the Spurs have been right there with the Thunder every single step of the way this year. And I want to see that matchup in the playoffs just because the Spurs beat them. They haven't lost to them in a regular season. I don't know if that's going to translate because, that's very tough for that to happen. But do you actually think that the Spurs can like go win a playoff series against this team? Because I know the Thunder have been so good over the past, year and a half to 2 years, but the Spurs came out of nowhere and they have the Thunder's number. That's something we have to remember.
Yeah, I think of it in that aspect. Yes, like throughout the regular season, they've beaten them. Like we just said last week, 4 out of the what? 4 out of their 15 losses are to the Spurs. So, it's like you look at it that way. And here's another factor into this. Good teams eventually will slip up if they just keep going, right? I'm not saying they will, but, sometimes there's a little crack in there, when it matters. Like if a team's been good the whole year, most of the time you don't see them win the championship. It's like a 50-50 shot, honestly, I think personally. I don't know about you. I think it's a 50-50 shot when a team has, ends up being the best in the regular season. We see it more in hockey that it doesn't, the best team never wins the cup. NBA, it's less common. MLB, obviously, we've known, last couple of years, don't even need to talk about that. NFL, it's 50-50, I think, too. But, yeah, I think the NBA is one of those – it's still a 50-50 chance where I think, maybe a slip-up happens for the Thunder and Spurs take advantage, because I think truly if it's not the Thunder winning it all, because I hate to say this, JD, I don't think anyone in the East is winning the NBA championship this year. I just don't personally. If any team would, I feel like it would be. And it's not even me trying to be, sucking up to you. It's the Knicks, I think, just because I think the Pistons are going to endure some hard times in the playoffs. Celtics, I don't fully trust, and the Knicks would be next, I think. But I think if it's not the Thunder, it's the Spurs.
Yeah, those teams, it seems like they're just much more equipped to just win the entire thing. Like the East, they're just gonna have to battle each other to the highest point just to make it. And even when you make it to the finals, what you're gonna face is gonna be unbelievable throughout from either the Thunder or the Spurs. It's not gonna matter. It's how good they are. And then we got the Lakers, who are third. We talk so much smack on the Lakers, and they literally spit in our face the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they watch the show. LeBron watches the show, guys.
He definitely does. Him or maybe Bronny, because we seem like we're for the younger audience. Maybe Bronny watches us, and
Bronny's like, hey, Dad, look what these two lowlifes from the Northeast are saying about you.
I mean, Biggie, but we've talked smack on them, and yesterday was their first loss in 2 weeks. So I mean, they're getting hot at the right time. That's another thing you have to keep into account. Getting hot at the right time. You could, you could be mediocre for the first 2.5 months of the year, but if you get yourself right at the right time, it doesn't matter, and you can go very, very far. And the way they're playing right now, I think the Lakers have finally figured out, which I understand that you have LeBron there. LeBron's a legend, whatever. At this point of his career, and at this point of Luka's career, it has to be Luka's team for them to win. And I think they finally realized, when LeBron got hurt earlier in the month, I think that's when they finally realized, okay, LeBron's going to come back, yes, but it has to be Luka's show, and LeBron's going to have to understand that he can still play great, but it has to be Luka and making everyone else around him better, and obviously being great himself, which he has been great. But I think that's what the turnaround's been for them. Do you agree with me? You think it's been more of that? Because the supporting cast is suspect, like we said.
Yeah,
it's not bad. It's mid.
I think the way I can agree with you is because of that reason, because there's really no one else besides those two doing anything. And I feel like, obviously LeBron's still good for, any type of night to put up, 10, 15 points a game. You know what I mean? Even more at times when you want him to. But I think it's not as consistent as Luka, I feel like, just because of the age,
Yeah, exactly. And this was, even 4 or 5 years ago of LeBron, you were like, okay, it's still LeBron's team, but that's not the case. And I'm glad.
Yeah, it's really not like that anymore. It's not really like that.
It's not. And for someone that I know, I'm not a huge Lakers supporter, but to see them play well, it's good for basketball. It's good for the NBA. When you look at the NBA, and I really think that it's not what it used to be, at least for the past few years, it hasn't been the same. But to have household brand names playing good basketball is huge.
Yeah.
And we got Denver as a 4 seed, 44-28. So last week we had that 3 through 6 reign, very, very close. Seems like some separation is happening where Denver is 2 games out now, which they weren't last week. Then we got Minnesota as the 5 seed, identical record with Denver. Both of those teams, I think if they have a playoff series, which looking like it right now, That series will go 7 games to me. I don't think there's a doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Both of those teams, they're so evenly matched. I really don't see the difference in them. To be honest with you, I don't.
I agree.
And then we got the Rockets as a 6 seed, 43-28. So they're only a half game from the 4 seed, and a little bit back from the Lakers now, 2.5 games or so. So the Lakers are playing so well that they're just they're creating that separation, which is what matters. Then we got the Suns. Suns are 40-32, so they're playing well. They're not playing bad. They're just
better than they started out with.
Yes. They're playing better than what people thought, and also if they win 2 more games, that's a 500 season for a team that wasn't expecting to win. Remember, they traded Kevin Durant away. They traded Bradley Beal away. They weren't expecting to be anything.
Yeah, they were expecting to do nothing. Yeah,
and I mean, 40 wins, you never know what they can do in the playoffs. I don't see them beating someone like the Spurs, but I think they'll give them some competition. It won't be like, a 4-game series. It will be. It definitely will be. Then we have the Clippers, dead even at 500 in the 8 seeds, 36-36. And then we got the Trailblazers, 36-37. I mean, they've achieved much higher than I thought. I mean, obviously, they're not even 500, but still, from what like I talked about every week, coaching change after the first game of the season, which obviously has never happened before. Then Youngstown,
of course,
special, yeah.
Circumstance, in case you forgot.
Yeah, we talked about that a few months back. It wasn't just the ordinary. Wasn't the ordinary. You know what? You're not doing the job for us. It was someone, serious, taking care of that. That situation. Then the Warriors are there, 34-38, but the next teams, Pelicans, Grizzlies, and Mavericks are way out of it, and the Jazz and Kings are even more out of it. So it's like the Warriors' spot to lose, but they're not going to really, they're not going to do anything. It's kind of all right. Yeah. That's the West. Seems like the teams that are in, and the seeding can change. I would say the top 6 are going to be the top 6, but they could be in different spots by the end of the year. But what do we got going on in the East? Because the East seems like the top 3 are kind of separating a little bit, and then the Cavs are kind of by themselves. Can't really go up or down at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's a factor to who's right below them. But the Pistons are still still in first place on a 4-game win streak, 52-19. I don't know what it is with them. It's a weird thing because they haven't fallen off, but it seems like they have. And Cunningham's out for the year now, and it's like I don't know. Like it's interesting. I don't think they're gonna win it all or make the finals at all.
Especially, with Cunningham being out, you don't know how long. Like he's probably going to be out for a very long time because that's a serious, injury. But you don't know, and they're also still. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're still playing good basketball without him. They beat the Lakers last night. The Lakers are on a huge winning streak. But yeah, if it gets to the point, if he's not available in the playoffs, I could see them losing to Cleveland in the second round. Like I could see that happening. But if he comes back, then you never know. But who knows? David Race, what's going on?
And then the Celtics are 5 games out of it. Again, I talked about this with Tatum. Like, obviously, it's like, oh, they got him back. They're winning the whole thing. I don't think so, just because I feel like the timing's off with someone who's been out that long. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know we know Jason Tatum's fantastic, and Jaylen Brown's been able to hold that team afloat. Obviously, they're in second place, not having him for pretty much the entire year. But I just think they need to, it takes a while to get back in the groove of things. And for Jaylen Brown's role to be diminished now that Jason Tatum's there, it's going to be a little bit of a skittish type of thing. And then in third place, the New York Knicks, who, I'll be honest with you, I'm the most confident in them in the East. I am. I mean, they've proven that they can win games. They're at 6-game win streak right now. I think they win the East. That's my prediction.
I hope you're right because like how they're playing.
I know you do.
I hope you're right because I love how they're playing right now. Granted, the competition hasn't been the greatest, but that's what you have to do.
Yeah, they're doing what they have to do. They're getting the job done.
Exactly. But I really like what they're doing. Something that's come about that I didn't think was going to happen. Jordan Clarkson has found himself back to the rotation. I don't know where that came from, but he filled in one night, scored like 15 points, and now he's been back in it. And that's huge. Alvarado is a good player, but Alvarado's not a scorer. The bench seemed like it was lacking still some scoring, and Clarkson has figured it out, I guess. I mean, that's good. That's a good thing for the Knicks. But I really hope you're right. I hope that I hope that the Knicks are able to, win the East. Because if they don't get to the finals, to me, it's a failure. And you get to the finals this year, you don't win. That's when you go out in the summer and you're like, you know what? All right, let's bring in Giannis. This group, this is their
or
max.
someone of that caliber. Yes,
exactly. And I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I like the way they're playing right now. But I really, I hope you're right. I'm not as confident as you, which is kind of funny because I'm rooting for the team that you're talking about. But you're definitely more confident in them than I am. But I'm not saying I'm not.
It's just that's just the nature of it,
Yeah.
As a fan, that's just how it is. And then right below them is my favorite team, the Cleveland Cavaliers. 3-game win streak, kind of streaky. I see, you're probably like, oh, the Cavs are great. Look at them. No, I think they're streaky. I just think they had that huge win streak, great stretch of games where James Harden came in, kind of lost it. Now they're back into it a little bit. I just think that's going to be an issue come playoff time. They're too streaky. They'll make a little bit of a run. They'll get past the first round, hopefully, right? I think they're too streaky to really do anything, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. And the fact now it's looking like, well, they're not going to be top 3. They're not going to be below 4. It seems like 4 is the spot for them.
Yes.
So we'll see what matchup they get in the first round. Because I think from watching the Cavs play this year, I think based for the way they can perform in the postseason is who they play in the postseason. What matchups happen for them? Like I think the Hawks can present major challenges to them, but I think if they play Toronto or Philly, they could beat them. I think, but if Atlanta goes in there with the quickness and, because Mitchell and James Harden are not the best defenders. We know that.
No, they're flashy in the offense, but they can't
play.
Yeah, I agree.
They don't play much defense.
Especially Harden anymore.
And if you're facing a Hawks team that's red hot, can score really, really well, like that's something you need to be, worried about. And I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with that. But I'm not saying they're not going to win, but the Hawks can score. Like they can score very, very well. So that's something I think that we have to watch for who the Cavs play in the postseason. Because if they get their matchups, like I think that, you're looking ahead a little bit. But if they do get Detroit, I think that you can actually beat Detroit, even though they're the 1 seed, which is fun.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that in a sense. I don't really know because, again, they're streaky. We don't know what we're getting. But the thing that's crazy to me right now here, JD, is the difference between them and then the 5th team, the Toronto Raptors. I mean, wow. A little bit of a drop-off. I think that top 4 is pretty much settled. It's going to be – unless something – unless the Knicks and Celtics move around and the Cavs maybe – bump a spot up. I don't think there's going to be any change between the actual teams in there. It's just going to be
the teams will be
right. But yeah, Toronto Raptors played pretty high above expectation this season. I will say that. The Atlanta Hawks, like you just mentioned, they're a team that can score. They are 9-1 in their last 10, dude. I mean, they've been playing well. Basketball. That's a team that I think could shock some people come playoff time. And then the Sixers, this is a team that I don't really have much confidence in. I just think just bad luck roster-wise for them, to be honest with you. I think, you're losing Maxey. Paul George has been he's suspended, right?
Yeah, still. He's been out. That I was going to bring that up. It kind of when they were playing well and kind of when he went out, the team started taking a little bit of a dip, which is weird.
Yeah, maybe he's better than we think.
Yeah, he meant something to them at least, right? I mean, he wasn't putting up great numbers, but it seems like the team has played worse without him. Which is unfortunate because they're not going to get him back. But that's something. That's something to think about. I'm glad you brought him up because I was going to say it. But yeah, he I guess he means something to them because they have not played the same.
Maybe he's not as washed as we all say he is.
It's possible.
Maybe Unk still got it. But anyway, yeah. So below them is the Orlando Magic, who fallen on some hard times. 5-game losing streak, JD, and they were a team that we gave some praise to.
Yeah, usually when we do that, it usually goes either 2 different ways. Either they go on a run, or they just look like they've never played before,
and nothing changes. We have some sort of impact on all these teams.
That we do. We have to because
somehow,
every time it's either a player or a team. We say they're doing great. It's either they continue or they just look. There's no in between. They just look completely like trash.
Because everyone watches this show. Like Mickey Mouse watched that episode. He's like, because Disney and magic, all that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Miami Heat, not a team I'm liking at all. 5-game lose streak as well. Never really was high on them, to be honest. I know you weren't either. The Hornets, that's a team that kind of streaky, but they've somehow climbed their way up to a winning record, which is crazy to me. And then the Bucks, just nothing. Bulls, nothing. The Nets suck. Wizards have lost 16 straight, and the Pacers finally won a game.
Okay, good for them. Good for them.
1-9 in the last 10, but they did it. They broke that losing streak. And who was that? I want to see. Who did they beat?
The Magic.
Oh, my goodness.
Yesterday, actually.
What have we done?
Oh, no. It's starting.
Now the Pacers are going to go on a win streak.
Yeah, they are.
And
I mean, hopefully they do. Hopefully they do. I don't want the Pacers, you know what's going to happen with them. Indiana is going to go on a run. I mean, they're not going to go on a run. Next year, they're going to get a top pick, and then they're going to bring in a top pick with a healthy Halliburton. You know, who knows who else they're going to get. Indiana's going to be a good team again next year. That's what's going to happen there. But, yeah, the East, pretty much 10 teams in are going to be the 10 teams, and that's really it. The fact that both the East and the West looks like this right now, it's just no competition. Like the play-in was designed to have teams like all the way through. Yeah, maybe you may not be 500, but you sneak in as that 10 spot on the final day of the season or something like that, and then you come in and then you get into the playoffs. But it's not happening now, which is ridiculous. But it is what it is with the NBA. Yeah. We kind of know what the deal is with that. Let's go to the NFL quickly. Joe Flacco, the ageless wonder, has yet to retire. He's actually back with the Cincinnati Bengals. Biggie, I mean, it doesn't even surprise me anymore, but he probably will play a game or two because Joe Burrow always gets hurt, so he'll get in.
Yeah, knowing how the Bengals usually end up, yeah, he will be. We'll see old man Joe in there.
I mean, and he could still, based off what he did this year, he could still play a little bit. So it's not like, he's a statue that can't
out of it, I don't think.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I thought it was, but he still could put up a decent game or two.
A game or two if he has to. Yeah, I kind of was expecting if he still played to go to a team that maybe gave him more of a inside track at perhaps playing a few games. Maybe going to a team that like a Raiders team that, we never know what can happen with Mendoza, and Joe Flacco could be his backup or whatever the case may be. Because, rookie quarterbacks tend to get hurt because they try to do too much, which I'm not saying that's only Mendoza, but it happens with anyone. Rookie quarterbacks always try to be Superman, and things can happen. I mean, any team that does take a rookie, I thought Flacco would kind of go to that one instead of other things. And then the other NFL news, Levante David, who's been on the Bucs for a very, very long time, half of our lifetime, probably more actually, has decided to retire. So I think, the Bucs signed Alex Anzalone from the Lions. I guess that was the writing on the wall, and David said, you know what, I'm hanging him up. 14 years with Tampa Bay. So, more than half of our life. He was there. He was a really good linebacker. I know that. That's from, him and with the Bucs that whole time. The thing with the Bucs and how they had the legends there, with Tampa's going to look very different this year. That's why I wanted to bring this up. It's going to be
an odd-looking team, and you know what? It is. A year where I think Todd Bowles gets fired.
Yeah, I think so, too.
He should have been fired already, but...
He should have been. He should have been after this year. I think this is the last year of Todd Bowles as head coach. I think they're going to be they're getting younger. I would expect after this year a younger coach to take over there as well. And I think that this is kind of the beginning of the end there. David is out. Mike Evans obviously on a different team. Those are two guys that started in Tampa when, before they made the playoffs with Brady and all that. Yeah. They weren't a great team, obviously, before that. And, now they've kind of become more mid than anything, like the past few years. Yeah, they make it the postseason, but do they really win anything? No. They're kind of they're there. And David has been through it all. He was there before they won, when they won, and now retired from the NFL. Then in the NHL, so I hate bringing up news about my teams that isn't always the best, but the Rangers, when it's history, you have to talk about it. And the Rangers made history for the wrong reason, as they had the fewest shots on goal since 2003. Biggie, you know how many shots they had last night?
9. They had 9, JD. I know.
Yes. 9. Not shots. Yes. Shots 9. On goal.
I know.
Shots on goal. Yes. 9 shots on goal. That's 3 shots on goal per period. per
That
period.
sums up the Rangers this year, man. Oh my goodness.
I mean, and the best part was it was just on home ice like we usually suck.
Yeah, at
So,
MSG. I mean, again, that sums up the season too. It took you how many months to win a game there?
Oh my god!
One of the greatest, arguably the greatest NHL arena and a venue that is known for winning, somewhat ish.
Even I was gonna say, even when they aren't the best team,
They
still win at home. They
Same with the
still
Knicks
win at
too.
home. Yeah,
even when
exactly.
the Knicks suck, they all like the home games. They're better at home, statistically, most of the time than away.
Yeah, and 9, 18, and 7 is their record at home, by the way. So realistically,
double-digit wins at home yet?
No, 9 wins.
Oh.
How many home games do they have left? Let's see if they can even. They have Chicago on Friday. They have 3, at least 3. They have 7 home games left. If they don't win one more home game in the last 7,
it's gone single-digit wins at home.
That is insane. And the best part is they're over 500 on the road. So if they put together any semi-decent showing at home, they would be probably in playoff contention right now.
Unbelievable.
I just had to put that in there. I don't watch games anymore.
Understandable. Yeah.
I gave up.
And
I saw that. I'm like, 9 shots on goal. I think me and Yuka put 9 shots on goal in the game. Just the two of us. 2 on 5, I think we can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, good 100%. Lord.
I can't even
That's insane. That is insane. I was like, okay, we have to talk about that. I mean, a thing that's been a part of history for 20 plus years, and the Rangers, like you just said, a capper on a horrendous season. They can't win at home, can't score, can't make the worst team in the East. I mean, it adds up. It really adds up there. Let's go to the standings. Just to do this as well, because NHL is about the same, 12 to 15 games left or so, pretty much for everyone. So about 2.5 weeks left of the regular season, and then let's start the West, where we got the Avalanche, leading the way. They clinched the playoff spot, so that's the first time we're saying that on the show, clinching playoff spots in the NHL. And then the NBA, the Pistons did. I forgot to talk about that, but they did. Avalanche 102 in the point column, which I said last week. I said they will hit 100 points for the next time we do the standings, and they did, creating some separation as well, where the Dallas Stars have 97 points. Then we got the Wild at 92 points, and then the drop-off, Utah at 80, Nashville at 75, and we got the Winnipeg Jets at 70, Blues 67 points, and the Blackhawks at 65. So top 3 in that division have literally been the top 3 all year. It really hasn't changed from those guys. But yeah, good job from the Avalanche getting to over 100 points, which I mean they usually do that every year, and I don't really think it matters, right? It's kind of it is. They've been the same.
Just look at the points for this next division, for the Pacific Division, and look at where they would stand in the Central.
Great point, because we got the Anaheim Ducks, who are in first in the Pacific with 82 points. So if they were in obviously the Central Division, they would be in 4th place and only 2 points above, say, 5th place Utah, which is crazy. Which is absolutely crazy. Then Vegas in 2nd place in the Pacific with 78 points. They would be 6th in the Central. Then we got Edmonton at 77 points, and the Kings with 73, Seattle with 71, San Jose with 70, and Calgary with 65, and then Vancouver at 50. But I mean, Anaheim, I believe they were they in first place last week? I don't think they were. Or was it tied, maybe?
It might have been tied. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was tied.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't remember them being in first place. I really don't remember that happening, but they are. Anaheim in first place, 39 and 27. And then let's do the playoff positioning, where we got, like I said, Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota. Then we got Anaheim, Vegas, and Edmonton, and Utah and Nashville in the playoffs. And then we got the Kings 2 points away, Kraken 4 points away, San Jose and the Jets 5 points away. So those teams are in striking distance. I know it's only 5. I know we say, 5 points. But 5 points can be made up in 3 games. It's quick.
Yeah, and if we want to do this a little bit, just to throw in some fun, out of those 4 teams, actually, let's say 4, the Kings, Kraken, Sharks, and Jets, which one has the highest chance to knock off either Nashville or Utah, and which team has the lowest chance of doing so?
All right. I mean, to be fair, I think Utah is going to be okay. I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, Utah, mainly Nashville. Who do you think?
Yes.
Who's close?
I mean, they're very lucky right now. They're on a 4-game win streak when the other teams got a little cold. But I wouldn't rule out. I know the Jets are the furthest behind. I wouldn't rule them out just because the goaltending they have. That's the thing. If if they could put it, they can't score, obviously, which we could see. But if you could put together a string of a few games where your goaltender just gets hot, where we know how the Buck is that good, if we can just put together the next 2 weeks or so, just good hockey, not good hockey, great hockey. That could be the difference. That could be the difference for this team, which I think they stack up against the other teams as probably having the best goaltender. I don't think we can argue about it.
Yeah, but I just don't think they're that good of a team. I think
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either. I'm just saying that, just to throw that out there. Maybe the goaltending can, will them into the playoffs, which I don't see it. But
I think good goaltending helps, but you also need to put up points, and I don't think they are capable of doing that. I think the San Jose Sharks, just because of their power on offense, I think they can get in.
They just need they need to turn it on a little bit with the 4-game losing streak. But, if they have time is, they could do it
right now.
Yeah, they need to figure it out. And they also, a good point there as well, they have the least amount of games played out of this entire group. So,
yes,
if they win, if they take advantage of those games that they have to make up to get to this point, then that could be,
that's why I think it's dangerous, because they're playing a lot more games at this point than anyone else.
They are, yeah.
It's a 4-game losing streak. That's going to end at some point, right?
It has to, yeah.
I mean, if you're timing for the Sharks, I think it is.
I was going to say, if you're interested in making the playoffs, it has to end, or else you're not going to make it. So
yeah,
you never know. You never know. But I mean, Biggie, I wrote here in the East. The East is getting insane, right?
Yes,
I mean,
it is. That it is. It's exciting. All right, so Buffalo Sabres still ahead in first. What kind of season are we seeing? I still can't believe this is real. The Buffalo Sabres are going to have a freaking first seed in the Eastern Conference. I mean, what? Pretty much they're either gonna have it or not. I think personally they couldn't get over Carolina, because Carolina right now has a point advantage on them, but the Sabres have 1 game at hand. So
I was going to say, and they're gunning for 100 points. Which while you keep going, I'm going to look that up. I want to see something.
Okay. Yeah, and then right below them is Tampa Bay, who kind of turned it on at the right time. To be honest with you, they are 5-4-1 their last 10. Montreal, a team that I think could be dangerous come playoff time. Boston is another team that's very dangerous come playoff time. They are playing great right now. They were in a point a couple months ago where I said this team's not making the playoffs. It has changed quite a bit. I think Boston is dangerous. They actually, from the Atlantic Division, I will throw this out there right now. I think the Boston Bruins are the most dangerous team in the Atlantic Division for the playoffs. More than Buffalo, more than Montreal. Montreal will come second. Buffalo, I think, third, just because of the position they're in. They haven't made the playoffs for 15 years. They have a very young, high-powered offense. But I just think Boston's got grit, and they're playing fantastic hockey right now. So, yeah, I think Boston's the most dangerous. Tampa Bay, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be anything special with them. And then, the Islanders right now are fighting for that spot, so I don't think Detroit's going to get in, to be honest with you. I think they've knocked themselves out of the playoffs, which sucks, but,
yeah,
that's hockey. All right. Yeah, so below them, the Red Wings, obviously. Ottawa's still making a push. They could still make it. They're on a 3-game win streak. Florida's out. Toronto's done. Toronto's been done for the last 2 months. There's no hope in Toronto. Metropolitan, Carolina, 96 points. They're a team that, they do it every year. They have a great season. They can't get over the hump. They can't. They're like the Dallas Stars. It's like the East. The East, it's the Carolina Hurricanes. The West, Dallas Stars. Happens all the time. Pittsburgh Penguins dealing with a little injury bug right now. I mean, Malkin is now day to day. Crosby's came back from that injury. I still think they're pretty solid though. They've exceeded all expectations this year, but we'll see how it ends up for them. I'm not too sure about how they're going to do. Columbus has made a statement. They're also up 2-1 on my Flyers right now. Flyers were up 1-0 at the end of the first period. Now it's 2-1. Just an FYI. And when we're in a spot to push for playoffs, this is what we do, JD, right?
Need a win.
How many times have I brought up, yeah, okay, let's make a push. We're on a 3 or 4 game win streak. When has it kept going? When has it gotten better? When has it not gone down into a hole, right? Mm-hmm. This is the fourth time. This is the 4th time we've done this year in the last month and a half. Unbelievable. But anyway, Columbus playing great. Got to give them props. Probably going to get a win tonight. Push them even farther, which is not good for the Islanders because they are fighting for a spot. The Islanders, who we hyped up all year, were great all season, are fighting for that last spot right now. They are in the trenches right now, and it happened like that.
It's getting real. It's getting
real. This is why I love hockey so much. It is getting real as can be right now. And then the Flyers, I mean, they're 5 points out, JD. As much as
striking distance. That's all you need.
They're in striking distance. That's all we need. We're on a 3-game win streak. It's probably going to end tonight because whenever we get a new opportunity to actually do something good, oh yeah, we're on a 3-game win streak. We just beat one of the best teams in the league. I'm talking about the run that we had when we beat Minnesota. Let's go. Let's beat the Rangers at home. Psych, 6-2. Zibanejad remembers how to play hockey again. Couple other instances. The win streak a few months ago, and then we lost to Utah at home 3-0. And then, we lose to the Rangers, and then we beat the Caps 4-1. The Caps below the Flyers right now. I already ranted about the Flyers, but it's so frustrating when they get to this point. This is, like I said, the 4th time in the last 2 months that they've gotten to a point where they can just keep winning and push to make a freaking playoff spot. And when they win a JD, the threshold is 3. So this is a 3-game win streak they're on right now. They're going to lose tonight. That's been the story for the last 2 months. Every time they've won more than 3 games, oh yeah, no, we can't do that. Let's lose. Let's drop a home game to Utah. Yeah, let's let Zibanejad go off in Philly. Let's let in 6 goals against the New York Rangers, who had 9 shots on goal last night. By the way, as we mentioned.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, but then we beat the Capitals and basically kill their chances of the playoffs. That game 2 weeks ago, I was there. That was incredible. How does that work? Like, what are we doing? But anyway, Capitals, Devils, completely out of it. Rangers suck. And then we'll look at the wild card. Buffalo Sabres, Tampa, Montreal. We know that. Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Columbus. Columbus is, like I said, played great hockey. Boston is in that number 1 spot. Gotta keep winning, Boston. And I think they're dangerous. I think they're going to. The Islanders, you got to pick it back up, man. You got cold when it mattered. You got cold when it mattered. They say they're hot at the right time. They got cold when it mattered, so they got cold at the worst time. The Islanders. Oh, excuse me. And they're fighting for a playoff spot because then only 1 point separates them in Detroit right now, and 2 with Ottawa, and 5 with the Flyers. So get it together. Because that great season you had is not going to mean anything if you don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's coming down to the wire.
Coming down to the wire.
I wanted to add with Buffalo because I was curious because you said they had 95 points. If they win just one more game, this is to be the most points they've had since 2010. So it's been a while. It's been a while for them.
Well, this is like if the Jets were like 14
if they were relevant. Yeah,
this is like not even relevant. This is like if
much better.
All of a sudden won like 14, 13 games. And we're
and I want to correct you. Not correct you, just add on. That would be in one season, folks. Not 13
not
games.
Spread out through 100, yeah.
Yeah. Not 13 wins over 7 years. Like 13 wins in 1 year. That's what Biggie's trying to say. No,
yeah, but you know what's crazy? They would still have more wins than interceptions. Somehow.
Yes, they would.
But the defensive head coach. Harry Blaine.
Oh man, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Yeah, don't get me started. I'm trying to forget about football at least for another what do we got? A month away from the draft. Which stay tuned, actually, guys. Stay tuned. We have something in the works. We have to all talk it through because I'm just trying to figure out something. I don't want to say anything to anyone until it's hammered in. So we'll wait on that. But let's move on to the MLB, where we have Pete Armstrong, who, if people that name sounds familiar, yes, he was on Team USA, the team that did lose in the championship last week, which we didn't get to talk about that much, but we kind of did already. So it is what it is. They lost. It's over, which we did last week. But he is finalizing a deal, 6-year, $115 million deal with Chicago, with the Cubs, I should say, not the White Sox, because the White Sox don't spend that kind of money. But I think this has been a good trend. I know there's a lot of trends we say that happen in baseball that we don't like. This one I do like, actually. The young players, young prospects getting rewarded before they even hit like year 3 or 4 of their professional career in in terms of Major League Baseball. They
Yeah.
get that deal now, and then, they get that deal now, and they're going to get another one after that because they're still going to be so young. And PCA is one of those guys. We've seen it with Ronald Acuna back when he was younger. There's a number of guys that we've seen this happen with, where they get that deal when they're very, very young. They play well and they get more, but it's good. I like that because you're rewarding that guy knowing, like, we always like that. We always see where teams kind of wait to bring up prospects because they want to hold their years of control for a little too long.
Right.
But I think that approach has kind of been thrown out of the window. And I'm like, you know what? If a prospect is good and he can play baseball at a high level, let him play. Like that's what I'm trying. That's the point.
Yeah, because I actually noticed that, JD. Obviously you're way more into baseball than I am. Like I follow it, that. Obviously, I watch baseball. I'm talking about it on shows. I should be watching it, right? Yeah, you have to. Anyway, I noticed that when I first started watching, like when I was younger, a lot of the guys, it took them forever to get called up. You know what I mean? Like it took a while. Like some of those big name guys, how long they spent in the minors, probably. Right?
Years.
Like Aaron Judge, I always go back to this example because he played, in my backyard, basically. Not literally, but he played for the Rail Riders, Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders for quite a couple of years, and it's obviously one of the best players in baseball. Hasn't played like it in recent, in the last 10 months, maybe 6 months, 7 months. But it's just that was a thing, those guys were there for a while. Him and Gary Sanchez played a lot of time in Scranton, a lot of time. But now we're seeing a lot more guys just get brought right through the system
quickly.
You're low A, and then you blink of an eye, they're playing Major League Baseball. I mean, one of the great examples is Jackson Holliday. He didn't take it. He took some time, but it was quick. Like he was playing with Delmarva, and then all of a sudden he's either in Norfolk or Baltimore. Like
and literally it felt like it was a year, but
yeah,
I know what you mean.
Literally like a year, probably less. And we're seeing it even now, like with it's crazy. Like it's changed because I think it's not even more of a talent shift, which I kind of think it is. I don't know what you think, being knowing more ins and outs of baseball. Is it is it that we're seeing better talent, or is it just decision making? Is it a talent jump, or is it a decision making thing?
I think it's a little bit of both. I also want to say, like, I think that these guys are more developed, like at a younger, like I can see it now. Like, obviously, I'm not playing at that extent of a level, but from my age to my brother's age, and my brother's only 3 years younger than me. I've seen how when I was my brother's age, I felt like the kids my age at the time, like when I was 17, we were much better players. I feel. I feel like now the younger you are, like I feel like when you get to a certain point, you just continue and you go up. Like the development happens quicker. Like I feel like that's what's happened here. Is like 17 is kind of like, oh, when you look back, 17 wasn't really sought out to be the age when you look like you're ready to play. Like when MLB teams took kids out of high school, they were banking on them being in the minors for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
now that doesn't happen anymore.
Like I just made the example with Judge and Gary Sanchez playing in Scranton.
Yeah. I mean, and even with the guys in college, the guys that come out of college, they're more ready to go than ever because the competition is so good.
Right.
Even when you look at the lower levels of baseball, which I've seen this now. This is obviously my last year of school, but I've seen it from my first year. The levels of baseball have gotten better. Even if you're playing a Division II school or a Division III school, the competition is not, you always get your fair share of teams that stink, but for the most part, like the competition has gotten better because there's so many, that the Division I level, let's say, the spots are gotten limited where it pushes everyone else down a spot, like down a peg in the pecking order. And that just gets guys more reps, more experience. Cause that's the biggest thing. Like, especially going to play pro baseball, you need as many experience reps. Yeah. If you throw 100, but you don't play maybe as much as you should, you got to get your reps. And that's what's going to get you drafted.
That's the difference between baseball and other sports. It's more about the experience that you're playing against rather than, skill. I feel
exactly. Yeah.
Because with football, we see guys, especially at the Division I. Like I played Division III. I was a solid maybe 6'2" and a half, maybe 290 pounds as a senior in high school. That was big, but size doesn't always translate sometimes. You know what I mean? But I feel like when you get to the higher levels, it does. And I've seen, and also another example. I'm kind of going all over the place, but you see some of the guys at Division I, they're like 6'6", 330 pounds. You're like, how is this guy like, he gets recruited. It's like, wow, this guy's huge. Like, and he's not like, he's running fast. Like the Division I guys do, but like, I feel like those guys get thrown right into the fire and they're just dominating people. You know what I mean? That's just a size, like, and skill thing. Like, I've even seen it through, because I played 2 years of it and I follow Division III football quite a bit and like, different teams and stuff. A lot of schools, I've noticed this, will recruit a kid who maybe doesn't even play really for a high school varsity team. He's maybe on the JV team, but he's like 6'8", 6'7". So the thing with that is it's not the experience, it's the size. You can't teach size. You know what I mean?
No.
And I feel like the difference with baseball is, you could be throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. You could be as a high schooler. But, you could do that in high school and just, absolutely, drill, rake kids or whatever. You know what I mean? You could do that. But you get thrown into a major league or even a minor league like setting throwing that, you gotta get acclimated to that type of environment. Even when you go off to college, like JD, you would know, like, you play in high school, you throw good pitches or so, right? You do well. Obviously, you get recruited. You're good enough to play in college. You do, and you get there. Even at a Division III level or Division II level, it's different.
Yeah.
And football, especially, football is not even comparable because I always say it like this: with Division III football, it's in all levels, but Division III especially because there's so many kids, because it's used as like a recruiting tool for the school. Basically, when you have 150 kids on a team, you know what I'm saying? Like Wilkes did. It's just like it's more of a I was the best at my high school. I was our best player. So was all 149 other kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like so if you go to like every school in the country, you pick every team's best kid. Yeah. That's college football. You know what I mean? Even especially at that lower level, because the Division III is weird because you can get someone who, was good and maybe has potential and they bring them on just because they can, because there's no limit on how many people they can bring on. So they bring on someone who maybe could be good, is not going to play immediately, but could develop into something. And then you get guys that, maybe grades were bad or they were under recruited and they come play and they're freaking studs for, it's not like, Division III is very interesting because you have someone like me, and then you can have someone who probably could have played FCS ball. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's just the nature of it.
Yeah, I'm glad we've talked about this because you never know, exactly what can happen. And especially baseball, that's the difference between baseball and other sports is like you can play any level of college or whatever. And if you actually perform and get your reps in, no matter what it is, you could have a shot at playing at the next level, which, that's something people are always obsessed with playing. Yeah. Oh, I want to play Division I. But if you're sitting on the bench for 4 years, you never know. You go to that Division II or perhaps Division III school, you actually play. You can go somewhere. We even see that with the NFL. NFL is more banking on what you could be at the next level, I feel, than more with baseball is what you've done already. Like in the NFL, we see quarterbacks who play we've seen it a handful of times. Guys that quarterbacks have never started more than 20 games get drafted in the first round because they see what they can do in the future. Which in baseball, it's either you've done it already or they think that you can't do it. That's pretty much how it works.
Well, yeah, and then another thing of it is too, like you said, like you could be a high school kid throwing 100 miles an hour, and then that's like MLB level pitching, right? Minor league level pitching. You get there, it's just because you haven't played up to that level yet. It takes a few years, even maybe a couple months, a lot of reps. It's not this guy's, skill, he's going to play immediately. No, it's even no matter how good they are in baseball, you got to get the experience of that level of play. Doesn't matter how fast your pitch is or how hard you swing that bat or whatever you do, whatever your best trait is in that sport. If you get drafted out of high school, go play any level of college baseball. It's different because you have to adapt to the level. As opposed to, this guy's a beast, he's going to fit right in. Doesn't matter. You have to adapt to the level regardless.
100%. Yep, 100%. Some other MLB news we had is speaking, continuing on the prospect talk. Top prospects are making, like we just said, more rosters than we probably thought that would happen. And starting with the Tigers, they brought their top shortstop, number 2 prospect in all of baseball. Kevin McGonagall will be the shortstop, or he will play at least for the Tigers somewhere. They'll put him out there somewhere. JJ Weatherholt of the Cardinals, he's going to be the starting second baseman for St. Louis this year. They're not going to be a good team, but at least he's going to get out there and get a chance. And if he doesn't play well, they're going to let him fight through it, regardless if he's hitting 300 or 200. Like, he's going to get his reps in, because that's what the Cardinals kind of figure what they're going to go this year, the direction they're going to go in. Sam Basallo, very, very excited for him. He can swing it. I know the Orioles have Rutschman. He's a great catcher. He's the next one. He's up there. His catching may not be there just yet, but I know he can swing the bat, and the Orioles are going to be. In my predictions, I have them in 4th place, but I wouldn't be shocked if they're competing for a playoff spot.
I agree with you on that. Yes, I'm very, very high on the Orioles this year, which sucks as a Yankee fan, but I agree. You're going to see some big improvements from them.
I just think that they were just in one of the best divisions in baseball, and it's just like
and they still are. They still are. I mean, you have the runner up in the World Series.
Blue Jays, Yankees are always good. Like that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what goes on. We always have a good month where we're like, we look like the next freaking Avengers, but that never for Tuesday, it never turns into anything. But you know what I'm saying. And then even Boston, they're streaky, but they're competitive every year, and I think they're going to be pretty competitive this year. That AL East division, besides the Rays, is going to be pretty good.
And you never even know what the Rays.
You never even know what the Rays. Yeah, I was waiting
for you to
say it. I wasn't going to say it. I was going to have you say it.
Yeah,
you don't even know. You never know.
Yeah,
yes.
5 teams in that division. I feel confident in 3 over the other 2, but those other 2 can make the playoffs. Have a chance.
Yeah, that's the thing of it. You know who's going to be the top 3, but all of a sudden the Rays go on like a freaking month run. The Orioles somehow, are almost winning.
Orioles
the
are going to be able to hit. I don't know if they can be able to pitch.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You don't know. That's what the beauty of that division is.
It is. And I don't know if you guys watching missed it. I recommend watching it because I broke down every division. I was being honest. In the American League could be the division that has 3 wild cards. Literally take all 3 wild cards. It wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. Like, seriously,
really
that's not even just a bold take. Like, that is like an actual thing that could happen.
Mm-hmm. It would. I mean, the Orioles are bringing up top prospects, bringing someone like Pete Alonso. Like, they're not. They're taking it seriously. Yeah, they're not like kind of what they were last year. They were like okay with being kind of average. Like, they're going for it this year.
I think they were investing for what they have now.
Yeah. Holiday, Gunnar Henderson, like, they got players there.
They do.
They're going to be good. They're going to be a good team. And then we got Bubba Chandler of the Pirates. So the Pirates are putting out their best rotation possible. They may not score many runs, but they'll be able to shut down a lot of teams. They got a really good rotation. Then Carson Bench of the Mets, very excited that he actually got put on the roster. He earned it. He hit 400 or so in spring training. Very happy for him, just because he's been someone I've been tracking since he was drafted out of college. He was a two-way guy that was more known for his pitching. Then he gets the Mets minor leagues, and he starts swinging it really well. And you know what? They gave him a shot. He's going to play right field, bat a little lower in the lineup, but he's going to get his chance. And a ton of other prospects. I know Andrew Painter from the Phillies is going to be in their rotation. He's going to be really good. He got hurt last year. Probably would have run on the team last year if he didn't get injured, but he'll be in there. And, opening night starts tomorrow. Yankees versus Giants, Max Fried versus Logan Webb. So a really good, obviously, pitching matchup. I think the Yankees win this one, I think, to start off the year. They have more bats in that lineup, and I think overall, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what lineup Aaron Boone puts out there, because I know he's big into
God only knows.
But,
oh, my God. God only knows.
Yeah, who knows? Because Logan Webb is a righty.
In the World Baseball Classic, so he can't play, even though he's my best hitter. You're not playing because of that. I took tips from my best friend, Mark DeRosa.
Yeah, who knows what the hell he's going to put out there. But it is a righty pitcher, so they are a lefty-dominant lineup, the Yankees, so I'm sure their best 9 will be out there just because Logan Webb is throwing, and he's a righty. Probably Trent Grisham in the outfield with Bellinger and Judge, I would assume.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't see any other possible thing going on there. Yeah. I think this game, JD, just because of the pitching matchup being pretty close, this is going to come down to
who screws up from the bullpen.
Who's that, and I think who puts out the better plate performance, because I feel like the pitching isn't going to be the issue, because the Yankees got a lot of their good pitchers back. And obviously we know Max Fried, what he can do. We've seen him, absolutely kill it out there. And I just think this pitching matchup is so close that nothing is going to matter more than whoever does better at the plate, because it's got to be, is Aaron Boone going to put up, because that's the point we're at with this team. Is Aaron Boone going to screw us over? Not is Judge going to go 0 for 4? Is he going to hit 3, or is he going to go 4 for 4 with all home runs? That's not the problem anymore. Is Giancarlo Stanton going to play like, regular season Giancarlo Stanton? It's the matter of the fact of Aaron Boone. Are you going to make a dumb move because of analytics? That's the point we're at. Like, it's not even a performance thing anymore. It's a managing thing now with us, which is crazy to think that this guy's still here. And most Yankees fans say he should have never been hired. I can agree with that in a sense, but yeah, just ridiculous. That's the issue that we have. We're relying on Aaron Boone to determine if we do good or not with the talent we have. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like he just said, perfect point. He's probably the biggest question mark, which is crazy.
Oh my God, huge. He's the biggest in all the, I think, in the sport right now, because obviously the Yankees are a high profile team. Everyone knows that. All eyes are always on the Yankees. Doesn't matter what they're doing. Everyone is talking about the New York Yankees, and that's not even me being a fan.
No, you're right. You're right. I agree.
They're a brand. They're not just a baseball team. They're a brand. And I think that on top of of Aaron Boone in general, if he was the manager of any other team, I think he'd be a question mark. But just because it's us and the
magnitude of it,
and our lineup's so good every year, this is definitely, he's the biggest question mark in the whole league. So I would honestly, JD, and I think this is a bold take if we're on the topic of that. I think Rob Thompson's also another one that's a question mark, because the Phillies have really gone downhill every year since they made the World Series, the last couple of years. So I think they'll be okay. At the beginning of the year, I was a little questionable on them because I felt like they should have went in the direction of bringing new talent in and kind of just doing like a reset. Right. But I think they're going to be okay. But I think he's also a question mark. I truly do.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree a lot. I like that one.
Very minuscule, but look out.
Yeah, no, I like that one. And then we'll see what the San Francisco Giants. That's why tomorrow's matchup is intriguing. Like the Giants have a manager who has never coached a professional game in his life. He's from college. So does he know it's stupid to say, but does he know the rules? Does he know those things? Like, you can't just use mound visits whenever you want.
Yeah.
I know college has its rules as well, but it's not the same. Let's put it that way.
It's such a
3 batter minimums. Like, does he know that he can't yank a guy out after one or 2 batters? That's something we have to keep an eye out on. We have to see what he's going to do. And I think the game's on Netflix, so hopefully.
Oh, I hate that. That's ridiculous. No,
I know.
Hopefully
Netflix.
I don't like it.
Hopefully Netflix doesn't stall out like it's done. It's done that before.
With the NFL.
Yeah, with the NFL, and I remember a few fights that they put on there. So hopefully they can figure that out. But I'm excited. Baseball's back. I mean, the weather may not reflect it, but we are going to be watching baseball starting tomorrow night, and all the way through. So hopefully the warm weather comes, and at least for the Yankees, they get to experience San Francisco weather, which is going to be very, very nice.
It's out there. It's out in sunny California.
Yeah, especially it'll be nice there.
Not the cold Bronx.
100%. And then the rest of the opening day games for each team, we got the Pirates and Mets kicking off Thursday. They're going to be the standalone game for at least an hour until the next game start. It'll be Freddie Peralta, the new acquisition of the Mets, versus Paul Skeens, so that should be a low-scoring game throughout. White Sox versus Brewers, Nationals versus Cubs, Twins versus the Orioles, who we were just talking about, Red Sox versus the Reds, Angels versus Astros, Tigers versus Padres, which we'll pick in a few moments. That's going to be a good game. Rangers versus Phillies is going to be good as well. Rangers have they've improved a little bit, and we'll see what Phillies team we get because we don't know.
This is huge for Philly. This is prove it.
It is. It
really is crazy to say, but it is.
It is. I agree with you. And Christopher Sanchez just rewarded with an extension. So we'll see what Christopher Sanchez shows up. Because he was dominant last year. He was when he was when he was on the mound, you knew, all right, we have a tough one tonight. We're going to struggle. Then we got the Rays versus the Cardinals, Diamondbacks versus Dodgers, and then the Guardians versus the Mariners. But I think I'm missing a few. So let me count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and then the Yankees and Giants 24. There's a few other ones. A's versus Blue Jays, I didn't say. That's another matchup. Rockies versus Marlins, I believe I missed. So that should be 20
on Friday, yeah.
And then Royals versus Braves, I think. Is that it? I think that's it. Yep. And those are the other ones I was missing. So there's 3 teams 3 games, which was 6 teams that don't play till Friday. A's versus Blue Jays, Rockies versus Marlins, so I don't think anyone cares about. And then the Royals versus Braves. So Royals versus Braves will be good because those are 2 teams. Royals were on the rise last year, and the Braves are just banged up, which I don't expect them to be that hurt again, which they already are kind of hurt, but I don't see that happening throughout.
I really like this Pirates-Mets matchup.
Me too. It's kind of like under the radar, right?
I really like it. I'm actually going to try and like really watch that game because I'm actually very intrigued to see how both teams do to start the year.
Yeah.
Just a lot of question marks for both of them. I'm sure obviously being a Met fan, lots of question marks for both teams. I also think the Orioles-Twins game is going to tell a lot as well because I don't think the Twins are too bad, but if the Orioles just come out and start just, killing it, if they just keep putting up runs in this game, which I think we could see, I think this is going to be whatever happens for the Orioles. And I know it's crazy because there's so many games, but I think whatever happens in the game tomorrow or on Thursday kind of is going to be what we see all year and I think they're going to go out there and people are going to be like, wow, the Orioles are going to be that good. I think that's going to be this type of game. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I think also, like you just said, like for me, I think the Twins are actually going to have a rough year. But if the Orioles mean business, they're going to go out there and they're going to play well.
They're going to do it in game 1. Yep.
Exactly. I wanted to go back to the Mets for a second before I forget.
Yeah.
With the Mets, the question mark situation is true because, over the past 5 years, we've had the same faces pretty much in the lineup and on the field. And that's not the case anymore. I was looking at something I saw today. 9 of the 10 guys that played last year, counting the pitcher and the DH, obviously, 9 of those 10 are going to be new. New people on the field. Maybe Lindor is at shortstop. Obviously, Soto is sliding over from right to left, but Luis Robert, center fielder, he's new. Carson Bench, prospect, he's new. Jorge Polanco, new. Marcus Semien, new. Bo Bichette, new. Brett Beatty's not playing the field. Francisco Alvarez didn't start last year on opening day. So, those are you're counting on guys to step up, your young guys to step up. You're giving some guys an opportunity. And then you're also looking at guys you brought in, like Polanco, Robert, and Marcus Semien to play well. Like you need them to play, and Bichette, obviously. You need them to play well, or else if they don't play well, you're going to have a bad year. So we're counting on all these guys. And that's just the lineup. The pitching staff is pretty much, Peralta new. You didn't have McLean on your team last year until halfway through. The bullpen, Luke Weaver, Devin Williams, to name a few new guys. Like, this is a new team. And I think as Met fans, we were very frustrated in the beginning. But now this is a new, fresh breath of air. We got to look at what these guys are going to do. When we got used to we knew what was going to come from a Nimmo, a Marte, Alonso, a Diaz. Now we have to look at, we're watching these guys for the first time ever. Yeah, we've watched Bo Bichette before. We've watched, some of these guys before. But we never watched them on our team. How do they play every day? Do they take a day off? Do they go hard every day? Like, do they care? Like that was the problem with the Mets last year. They didn't care enough. And obviously that was true because they went from the best team in the league to they didn't make the playoffs. So obviously they lost chemistry and a lot went wrong there. And that's why they decided to do what they did. So they have to prove the front office and the ownership right by switching this team up. And that's a big – and the guys that are still here, they have to show they weren't the problem either. So that's a big thing. Yeah. So I know it's only game 1, but like you just said, that's big. Question marks that need to be turned into checks when it's all said and done. Those things need to, go in the right direction, or else this team's not gonna be a good team. But we'll see. I think they're gonna be okay. I don't have 100% faith in them. They have to kind of show that, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, question marks. Yeah.
Exactly. And then let's go to March Madness. So we got Sweet 16 starting Thursday night. We got Texas. Texas is the only double-digit seed left in the tournament. They played in the play-in game. They won that. And then they also go out there and they win their first-round matchup against BYU. BYU was a one-man show. I mean, that was pathetic, the rest of what that team put up. I was watching that. I'm like, how do you have one guy that scores half your points and no one else even helps out? Like, what are we doing? And then Saturday night, they go out there and beat Gonzaga. I mean, I wasn't high on Gonzaga. We talked about that. But also, Gonzaga should have
never this early, though.
No,
they at least get to like the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8. They didn't even get out of the round of 32.
They didn't. And Texas didn't win. They didn't win a game in the. Excuse me. They didn't win a game in the SEC tournament. Then they go out there in the play. They sneak into the play-in. win the play-in against NC State, and then just beat BYU and Gonzaga. They
Crazy.
got Purdue on Thursday night, and Purdue's not always the best in postseason. When it gets deeper into the postseason, they're not always the best. So I wouldn't be shocked if Texas rolls along to the Elite Eight. Would not shock me at all. Then we have the battle of the Big Ten, where we got Iowa versus Nebraska. These two teams have played each other twice so far this year. Both have beat each other, so that's something we have to watch out for. Who's going to win the rubber match? It is, and this early, I say it's early because it kind of is for a conference matchup in the Sweet 16, but we'll see what happens. Iowa beat Clemson, and then they had the upset against the Gators, Florida Gators, Sunday night, which is, I couldn't believe that. The Gators also, you have 4 seconds or 5 seconds left, and you don't even know that you have to shoot. Like, the guy was dribbling underneath the hoop. Did you see that? I was like, what is going on here? And Iowa and Nebraska. Let's see who Nebraska played. They're a higher seed, obviously. They beat Troy. They took care of business, and then they beat a Vanderbilt team who was very, very good. Vanderbilt almost won on a half-court shot, if we remember. It went literally 3 quarters down the hoop and came out. So Nebraska had a scare, but they did win. Then we got, I think this for Thursday, in terms of Thursday matchups, Biggie, I think Arkansas versus Arizona has the most firepower in the game. Like, these two teams are unbelievable.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think this is probably like the most firepower, at least, because I think Texas Purdue would be an okay game. I think
I think it's more of a defensive.
Iowa Nebraska is more of a them both being in the Big Ten. Illinois and Houston, I think that game's just going to be, we both know they're good. Yeah, I don't know who's going to win that. That's kind of a coin flipper, but I think the most flashy game is going to be Arkansas and Arizona. I think so, just because of the way both of those teams play.
Right. I was pulling up Arkansas here. So far in the tournament, they beat Hawaii in the first round, putting up 97 points.
Yeah.
Then they beat High Point with 94 points. So Arkansas could score. They're facing Arizona, who I said was probably the most consistent in the entire nation this year. And they've continued that, in the tournament as well. Arizona, who they beat, let me check. LIU, I know, was the first round. And then they beat Utah State in the second round. And both of these teams are on, at least 7-game winning streaks. So they're coming in red hot. I'm very excited for that game. That's the one I'm going to watch all of them, of course, but I'm really, really going to focus in on that one. I'm really excited for Arizona. They also picked them to win the championship, so they better not lose.
You kind of want them to, yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited for that game. And then we touched upon it briefly. You just did Illinois and Houston. 2 very good teams. 2 of the teams that aren't flashy, but they very easily can win the championship.
They're just good they're good basketball teams, yeah.
And they're coached extremely well. Yes,
exactly.
I agree with you on that one. Then let's go to Friday, where we got St. John's versus Duke. St. John's.
They're winning. I'm telling you right now. Quote me on it. St. John's wins this game.
I hope so. I believe in them too. In my bracket,
Duke has not impressed me in the 2 games they've played.
No, they haven't. They struggled with Siena. They struggled with Siena, and then they beat TCU, but that was the struggle until halfway through the second half. St. John's goes in there, beats Northern Iowa, which I said they would have trouble, and they actually proved me wrong. Then I knew the Kansas game would be very close, and it was. Obviously, they beat them on a buzzer beater. Had a lead, blew it, but St. John's played their brand of basketball, and they go out there and they still win. I think they have a good, more than a fighter's chance of winning this game. I really do.
I think they do. Quote me on it. St. John's beats Duke.
All right, we're gonna post that on the Instagram for Friday because I agree with you. I just when I say it, I sound like you're just a typical
you're a fan. You're a fan.
I'm always wrong, but when you say it, it's different. So I like that. I'm glad you brought that up there. And then we got Duke played Siena, won by 6, was in major trouble throughout that entire game. And then they beat TCU by a ton, but that was closer than people think in the beginning. Then we got Alabama versus Michigan. Alabama has won 2 games. They have other situations going on with that program, but they still found a way to win. Beat Hofstra, who we were expecting to cover in that game and possibly win. It was close until Alabama just decided to turn on the turbo jets and just say, you know what, we're SEC type of basketball team. We're going to beat you and show you why, which was unfortunate. And then they did the same thing against Texas Tech on Sunday. Texas Tech, I think, was a little overseeded. They were a 5 seed who also didn't have their best player for the last 2 months. So
that didn't help them much.
No, but Alabama can score. We know that. But also Michigan's strength is defense. So I think Michigan's going to
so good.
They are, man. They are incredible.
I honestly, I think they can win this whole thing. My God.
I mean, you look. I don't know if you remember from a few years ago when Florida Atlantic made their little run in the tournament
Yeah.
a couple years ago. That coach is the Michigan coach, so I'm not shocked.
Okay.
When you get a little bit better infusion of talent in your program, you kind of can take more levels, to it. They beat Howard and then they beat St. Louis. St. Louis is very impressive. They beat Georgia in the first round.
Yeah, they killed Georgia. They beat them by a lot.
Like almost 40 points.
Yeah.
And then Michigan just decided to tell them, yeah, we're the number 1 seed. Have a nice trip home. And then we got Michigan State versus UConn. Very excited for this one as well.
I think UConn winning it also.
Yeah, and I mean they've showed how good they can play. Both teams have, but especially UConn, they showed that they can win in different ways. Michigan State beat North Dakota State 92-67, and then Michigan State beat Louisville in a tough battle 77-69, and then UConn beat Furman, which they didn't look great, but Furman played very well. They won 82-71, and then they beat UCLA, which I thought would be a much closer game. They won that one 73-57, but I think both teams very well coached, veteran coaches, and they have leadership on that team, which is something we can't always say nowadays in college basketball, leadership, but they got leadership.
They both do. And that's a credit to their coaches, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. Hurley and Izzo, best of the best.
Two of the best. I mean, 2 of the top 5 coaches, I think, in all of the college basketball.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then we got Tennessee versus Iowa State. Iowa State have been very high on. They're really, really good defensively sound team. And then Tennessee beat Virginia, which was an upset the other night. So Tennessee, SEC, man, the SEC knows how to play. But I think Iowa State also won that game against Kentucky without their best player, Jefferson.
Oh yeah, that might be a factor in this one.
We have to see if they get him back. That's a big, like you just said, a factor.
Yeah.
It's either he's going to play and that's a boost, or they don't have him, and Tennessee can, take advantage
of it.
That. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But that's the Sweet 16 games. Thursday night starting at 7:10. Those 4 that I just read off, and then Friday same thing starting at 7:10. And then, those whoever the winners are will play the weekend, and then the Final 4 and the championship will be the week after that. But great time to be a college basketball fan, like usual. I mean, we just love watching college basketball as a whole, but when we get this, it's even better. Then we'll do the pick 'em here. I'm at 35-26, so I took the loss last week. Biggie got the win. He's at 30-31, so 5 games behind.
Catching
up. He's catching up. And then we got the Tigers.
Before you go, when did we start this? Just so I know when it resets.
I believe it was the first week of June. I can check that. But I believe it was
we'll get that determined. I was just curious if you know offhand.
Yeah, okay. I believe we launched the show together the first week of June, if I remember right.
I want to say so. Yeah, it was either that or the last week of May. It was around
one of those. Let me go back quickly and try to find it if my phone loads. I got YouTube pulled up, but it's not going past like episode 72 right now.
Oh, yeah, it's got a lot.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. 45. When was 45? 9 months ago. Okay, that helps. June 2nd. Okay, that was the first one. Yep, June 2nd. So we will end it. We will end it then. First week of June, we will end the standings and reset. But we got Padres, Tigers. I keep doing this. Tigers, always the away team first. Tigers versus Padres. I'm going to go with the Padres. Padres have a new manager. I know Tigers do have probably one of the best pitchers in the league in Skubal throwing, but I like the energy that the Padres have now. We've seen a team that, they have a lot of personalities in San Diego. Let's put it that way. But now they have a former player, Craig Stammen, who was a reliever, played in the organization as their new manager. And the old manager, I don't know if you knew this, Biggie, Mike Schilt, never played any innings of professional baseball in his career. Yeah, so he only coached, never played. That was an old guy. Now you get a little bit of a change of scenery there. You have a guy that knows what you go through every
and knows the organization. Yeah,
exactly. I think that's going to be a big boost for the Padres. And opening up at home, new energy there, fresh breath of air. I wrote in the notes. I think the Padres are going to come out swinging, and they're going to win Game 1 to start the year against a tough Skubal. Skubal is obviously great.
Yeah, I can't go against Skubal, man. I'm going to go against you. I had to take the Tigers. I can't go against Skubal. And the Detroit Tigers, they look like they're not going to change anything that they've had the last year, especially. I think this is just going to be the beginning of something special for the Tigers personally. And I can't bet against Skubal. Come on.
No, he's great. He's great.
Can't bet against him at all, in my opinion. Padres, yes, I agree with everything you just said. Got a great energy. They do have a great lineup too. And obviously, I think a new manager, especially the situation that he's in, I think it helps a lot. But I just can't go against someone like Scooble. I really can't.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I agree with you too. I was very torn on this, but back and forth. I have the Padres. Biggie has the Tigers. Anything that we didn't get to, or anything on your mind?
We got it all.
All right, perfect. That was episode 109. Just wanted you guys to go out there. Episode 108 was yesterday, and will be divisional breakdown and stuff like that. I also posted it throughout the day, so if you guys missed it, catch up on that. And also, reels from this show are going to be going out throughout the rest of the week. Which I've been slacking on them. I admit it. I'll take it. I haven't been doing my best there, but we'll get back to those. Not sure when the next Knicks stream will be because there's a lot going on in terms of other sports, which, baseball happening as well. I don't know if you guys will watch us watching a Knicks game if you can watch baseball, which hasn't happened in a while. So we'll probably hold off on the Knicks streams for a little longer. I do want to do one more before the season or two more before the regular season ends if possible, and then we'll get some in the postseason definitely for sure. But yeah, that's going to do it for episode 109. Thank you guys for watching. YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, everything. Give it a watch. See you guys.
Yep. See you guys.